After I was diagnosed with cancer, I bought a grave for myself and booked a funeral team. As my partner, Su Jiangshu received my purchase reminder, but he thought I bought it for my stepsister. He looked at me with red eyes and disappointment. Shen Yunchu, you are so vicious. Why is Huan Huan the one suffering from heart disease and not you? On my birthday, my mother and Su Jiangshu searched all over the world for the source of Yi Huan's heart. I asked Su Jiangshu to blow out the candles with me. The source of her heart has been found. Can you celebrate my birthday with me? He gave me a cold look. When can I celebrate my birthday? But he doesn't know that this is my last birthday. Table of contents. Click on the chapter title to jump to the corresponding text location. Volume 1 default. Body text. After I was diagnosed with cancer, I bought a grave for myself and booked a funeral team. As my partner, Su Jiangshu received my purchase reminder, but he thought I bought it for my stepsister. He looked at me with red eyes and disappointment. Shen Yunchu, you are so vicious. Why is Huan Huan the one suffering from heart disease and not you? On my birthday, my mother and Su Jiangshu searched all over the world for the source of Yi Huan's heart. I asked Su Jiangshu to blow out the candles with me. The source of her heart has been found. Can you celebrate my birthday with me? He gave me a cold look. When can I celebrate my birthday? But he doesn't know that this is my last birthday. 1. The birthday cake in front of me was melting little by little, and I was already feeling sleepy. Su Jiangshu broke into the door. He held up his mobile phone with red eyes and looked at me with disappointment. Shen Yunchu, can you just not see Huan Huan like this? Why do you want to curse her to die? I was stunned when I saw the message on his phone was about the funeral service I had ordered. He didn't even look carefully at the name on the phone. It said that the person who needed funeral services was my name, not Su Huan's, so he concluded that it was me who wanted to see Su Huanhao. His eyes became redder, and his emotions became more and more excited. Shen Yunchu, when can't you celebrate your birthday? Do you still have the nerve to eat cake here? Why wasn't you the one who died? But this is my last birthday. Listening to his words, my heart felt like it was frozen. I stuffed the cake into my mouth bit by bit until I felt like vomiting. I was diagnosed with cancer. I asked the doctor if he could still be saved. The doctor sighed helplessly. Go out for a walk and have fun in the remaining time. The implication is that nothing can be saved and time is running out. So I begged Su Jiangshu to celebrate my birthday with me, and he agreed. But I waited all night and didn't see him. All he was waiting for was endless humiliation. Su Jiangshu turned around and was about to leave. My remaining hope made me ask him, Jiangshu, can you grant me a wish? Can you accompany me to Jade Dragon Snow Mountain? Su Jiangshu looked at me impatiently. Wish. Huan Huan has a heart attack and is still lying in the hospital. What qualifications do you have to make a wish? Why do you have the nerve to go out and play? But today is my birthday. After he left, my body hurt more and more until I couldn't breathe. It takes time for the ambulance to get here. Not long after Su Jiangshu left, I called him, hoping that he would come back. Jiangshu, I don't feel well. Can you come back and take me to the hospital? Su Jiangshu sneered. Shen Yunchu, do you think I will believe you? After saying that, he hung up the phone. I was curled up and rolling on the ground in pain. If nothing else happens, today is not only my birthday, but also my death anniversary. When the ambulance arrived, my body was in cramps and I kept vomiting blood. Yi Huan's heart disease was an acquired heart disease caused by hitting a stone while having a fight with me. After that time, I became a vicious sinner. Su Jiangshu blames me. Yi Huan hates me. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I did a lot of tests and unexpectedly learned that I and Yi Huan were a heart match. So I signed a cadaveric organ donation agreement. If nothing else happens, my heart will be transplanted to Yi Huan. Not only did my heart match Yi Huan's, but my blood type also matched, so every time Yi Huan had an operation, I had to donate blood to her. I died, and my heart was transplanted into Yi Huan's body. Yi Huan's surgery required a lot of blood, and Su Jiangshu kept calling me. He stood outside the operating room with an anxious look on his face. When he saw that I didn't answer the phone, he swore. Unable to contact me, he could only use means to adjust his blood type. But Su Jiangshu didn't know that I was dead, and the heart in Yi Huan's body was also mine. He can no longer get through to my phone. After a day and a night, Yi Huan finally woke up. She seemed to be in good condition. After she woke up, she covered her chest and looked at Su Jiangshu with a smile. Brother Jiangshu, I can be like a normal person from now on, right? I can learn to dance like Sister Yunchu and participate in dance troupe competitions. Su Jiangshu touched her head gently. Yes, that's right. You can be like a normal person from now on. 2. The feeling after death is quite good, at least better than the feeling of pain while alive. I can't count how many times Su Jiangshu abandoned me for Yi Huan. He once saved me and pushed me into the abyss. Yi Huan and I are half-sisters. When my father passed away when I was young, my mother took me and remarried to the Yi family. From those days, my mother asked me to call her aunt. If I shout something wrong, my mother will slap my palm with a bamboo stick. What did I ask you to call me? I said you're not allowed to call me Mom. I could only desperately put my hands behind my back to hide my red eyes and shout, Auntie. In order not to affect my mother's marriage, I always call her aunt. I became an outsider in the Yi family, and I carefully watched everyone's faces in life. I was afraid that if I said the wrong thing, my mother would have a bad life in the Yi family. Yi Huan is Yi Xiaohua's only daughter and has become her mother's only daughter. I am no longer my mother's daughter. I am my mother's niece. Yi Huan always wears a princess dress on her birthday, and I always wear a t-shirt that has been washed until it turns white. For her birthday, her mother will buy her a cake. I watched eagerly as Yi Huan ate the birthday cake and swallowed. Yi Huan walked up to me with a piece of cake. I stretched out my hand to pick it up, but Yi Huan smiled and said, "Do you want it? Kneel down and bark like a dog, and I'll feed you." I've never had cake before. Yi Huan smiled and smashed the cake on me. "You kneel down. Bark like a dog, or I will sue your mother and you for bullying me." The Yi family and my daughter have always known that I am my mother's biological daughter. In order to let my mother have a place in Yes family, I knelt on the ground, and Yes' smile became more and more cheerful. "Scream quickly, scream quickly." I held back my tears and shouted softly, "Woof, woof." She shouted loudly, "It's too quiet. You can't hear me. Please be louder." After she left, Su Jiangshu handed a small cake to me. "Eat it. The cake is very sweet but slightly bitter in your mouth." He stretched out his hand and helped me up. I stood up shakily, and my legs were numb as I knelt down. At night, I secretly complained to my mother, but my mother immediately turned black and looked at me dissatisfied. "Shenyanshu, can you be more sensible? I told you not to mess with Huan Huan. You are just my niece. How can I protect you in the Yi family?" When I grew up, I was also bullied by Yi Huan in school. Su Jiangshu always came down from the sky to save me from the heat. Yi Huan ordered people to pour the swill on my table, and Su Jiangshu wiped it off for me bit by bit with a rag. My chair was splashed with red liquid, and it was sticky when I sat down. When I stood up, people around me pointed at me, and I blushed with embarrassment. Su Jiangshu immediately took off his coat and put it on for me. Looking at him, my heart was pounding. My face was red. I couldn't tell whether it was because of my heartbeat or because of embarrassment. It's not that I didn't try to resist Yi Huan, but every resistance was in vain. I told my mother, but she would only say, "Can't you bear it for a while? It's all just a little fight. What's the fuss about?" So I endured it again and again. I endured it until Yi Huan insulted my dead father. Su Jiangshu and Yi Huan were childhood sweethearts in the true sense. The day before Su Jiangshu and I's wedding, my mother pointed at me and scolded me. "Why are you trying to steal your boyfriend from Huan Huan? Are you deliberately trying to make me stay in the Yi family without shame?" Yi Huan folded her hands on her chest and held her neck high, looking like a noble white swan. I was the ugly duckling next to her. "Shenyanshu, your mother is as cheap as you. You took away my fiancé, and your mother took away my father. And how your father, who lived a short life and died young, educated you. You can scold me, but you can't scold my father. That day was the anniversary of my father's death, and in my hand was my father's photo." She snatched the photo from my hand and stamped it on the ground, looking at me with a smile. I squatted on the ground and tried desperately to lift her feet, but accidentally pushed her to the ground. Yi Huan fell on the stone, and blood was flowing out of her chest. I panicked and called the emergency phone immediately. Yi Huan moaned in pain, and I was helpless trying to cover the blood on her chest. But the blood flowed more and more. When Su Jiangshu came in, his face turned dark immediately when he saw this scene. He hugged Yi Huan and got into the car and quickly took her to the hospital. 3. I walked to the door of the ICU in despair. When my mother saw me, she slapped me in the face. Her eyes were red. "Shenyanshu, why don't you die with your father? Why did you kill my daughter?" Her mother sincerely regarded her as her daughter, but she did not regard her as her mother. No one showed up at every parent-teacher meeting I had, but Yi Huan's mother was never absent from her parent-teacher meetings. After Yi Huan was discharged from the ICU, no one allowed me to enter the ward. When Su Jiangshu came out, he looked at me with disappointment in his eyes. "Shenyanshu, you disappoint me so much. When you get married, your true nature is exposed, right?" I panicked and pulled Su Jiangshu to explain. "No, Jiangshu, I didn't push her down on purpose." Su Jiangshu looked at me coldly. "Shenyanshu, so you admitted that you pushed Yi Huan. Speak." I looked at him in fear. I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't mean it. That was the last photo my father left for me. When I saw my father's photo being trampled under someone's feet, I panicked and pushed Yi Huan away. Since then, Yi Huan was diagnosed with heart disease. Yi Huan's heart disease cannot be treated, and he gets sick every 3 days unless he undergoes a heart transplant. Yi Huan would call Su Jiangshu whenever he felt sick and felt unwell. Su Jiangshu would always do the same thing she did, and he would put on his clothes in a hurry and leave at night. Every time Su Huan gets sick, I feel guilty and blame myself. My mother would always call me, "Shenyanshu, can you sleep?" "How dare you sleep?" When Su Jiangshu came home from visiting Yi Huan and saw me sleeping, he would say coldly, "Shenyanshu, Yi Huan is lying on the hospital bed now. How can you sleep well?" When I closed my eyes, Su Jiangshu's accusations were all in my mind. Su Jiangshu hasn't smiled at me for a long time since Yi Huan had a heart attack. Yi Huan's mother saved Su Jiangshu from passing away, so taking care of Yi Huan and Su Jiangshu's heart is what he should do. He felt guilty for not protecting Yi Huan. Because of Yi Huan's heart disease, I fell into depression for a while. When Yi Huan needed blood for surgery, I ran to the hospital to donate blood for her without saying a word. On the day of my period, I also drew 600 cubic centimeters of blood without telling the doctor. After drawing the blood, my face turned pale instantly. The doctor asked me, "Are you having your period today?" I nodded numbly. Yes. The doctor was a little angry. "Every time she has an operation, you donate blood. You don't want to die, don't you? You dare to donate blood during your menstrual period." I thought Su Jingshu would feel sorry for me, but he looked at me and snorted. "Shinyin-shu, can you stop causing more trouble? Do you think I will feel sorry for you if you donate blood during your period?" 4. I lowered my head in despair. The last time I mentioned that I was on my period, my mother pinched my ears and yelled in front of everyone. "Look, she is the one who caused my daughter to have a heart attack. Now she is finding all kinds of excuses to shirk my daughter from having an operation and asking her to donate blood." People around me pointed at me, and I lowered my head. Therefore, neither Su Jingshu nor his mother will be satisfied whether I donate or not. Over the years, I suffered from depression, and my health became increasingly worse. When I felt sick to my stomach, I thought it was depression that was affecting my mood and appetite, but I didn't expect it to be stomach cancer. Standing on the rooftop, I once wanted to jump off. Su Jingshu said slowly, "Shinyin-shu, if you have the ability, just jump off. If you don't have the ability, don't even think about jumping off the building to win sympathy." Hearing his words, I covered my ears and broke down crying. He once shined into my life like a beam of light. He handed me the first piece of cake and put a coat on me when I was down. But now he is criticizing me in the most unpleasant language. So when I learned that there was no cure for my cancer, I breathed a sigh of relief. I was finally free. I cried a lot when the heart match with Yi Huan came out. It was like my head was finally emerging from the water. I have taken numerous antidepressant medications over the years. Su Jingshu would ask me sarcastically when he saw me taking medicine, "Do you think you can escape the fact that you gave Yi Huan a heart attack by pretending to be sick?" When Su Jingshu asked me why I was not the one suffering from heart disease, I went to the hospital to sign the organ donation operation without hesitation. After the doctor's repeated confirmation, I signed. At this moment, I felt relaxed all over. Give her my heart, and I won't owe them anything anymore. After Yi Huan was discharged from the hospital, Su Jingshu held a cleansing party for her. At the banquet, Yi Huan was still dressed up like a beautiful little princess, with a stepmother who loved her unconditionally, and an outstanding childhood sweetheart like Su Jingshu. Su Jingshu asked his assistant to call me to attend Yi Huan's dust-free party. The assistant called me again and again, but never got through to me. It's a pity that Su Jingshu didn't know that my soul was already there. The assistant whispered, "Mr. Su." Madam didn't answer the phone. Su Jingshu's face suddenly darkened. My corneas, my heart, and my kidneys were all donated. The body is in the hospital morgue. If I remember correctly, today is my first 7. The body collection service I booked before my death will help me organize my funeral. Su Jingshu received a strange call. "Hello, Mr. Su. The funeral service your loved one ordered from us a week ago will be held by our company. Please feel free to leave the remains of your loved ones to us." Hearing this, Su Jingshu couldn't help but frown. "Who said someone in my family died? Are you mistaken?" After hanging up the phone, Su Jingshu blocked the number without hesitation. When Yi Huan had a heart attack, the word death was a huge taboo. The staff sent electronic funeral invitations to all my relatives and friends, including my mother and Su Jingshu. The banquet had just ended when the news was sent, and Su Jingshu drank a lot of wine as an exception. When he received the news, he sneered and sent a message asking me what tricks I was playing again. "Today is the day when Yi Huan is discharged from the hospital. Why don't you come? Is it because you don't have the face to come?" Of course not. It's because I'm dead. Seeing their happy faces at the banquet, I suddenly felt lucky that I was dead. After death, they no longer have to feel guilty about Yi Huan's heart disease, and they seem to be happier without me. Su Jingshu no longer has to feel guilty, because Yi Huan's mother died after saving him, and his mother no longer has to worry about losing her footing in the Yi family. I no longer have to be called a murderer by them. 5. The funeral was on the next day, and rain fell heavily from the sky. Very few people came, and I never had any friends during my lifetime. But I admire the funeral's after-sales service capabilities. They brought in all the friends I hadn't contacted in 10 years. This friend is Duan Su. Duan Su is the same as me. We obviously have relatives, but it's no different than having no relatives. If Su Jingshu is a beam of light that saved me, Duan Su is the person who walks with me in the dark night. The two of us seem to be shivering and huddled together to keep warm. Before going to Ye's house, Duan Su was my best friend. His father gambled and beat his mother away. When his father was drunk, he would beat him with a bamboo stick. Similar backgrounds brought us together, and we became each other's friends. After my mother married another woman, I cut off all contact with him. Duan Su held my hand tightly and told me, "I will come to you. Wait for me. Unexpectedly, seeing you today is my funeral." He was wearing a well-fitting suit with an assistant at his side. He had sharp edges and looked much more mature. He was no longer the wild boy in the alley. Standing in front of my coffin, he looked dazed. "Little liar, you didn't say you would wait for me. Why don't you leave first? I missed my appointment." When I was severely depressed, I couldn't help but slit my wrists. After the cutting, I let the blood flow freely, and I felt satisfied watching the blood overflowing freely. I waited for Soo Jung-soo to come home. When he saw my bleeding arm, I panicked. I thought he finally cared about me. Seeing my hand bleeding continuously, he bandaged me haphazardly and shouted angrily, "Shin Yun-chu, Yi-hwan will have an operation tomorrow. How can you donate blood to her tomorrow if you are bleeding so much now?" After hearing what he said, I was stunned. His eyes were panicked, and he bandaged me helplessly. I thought he was worried about me. It turned out that I was just worried that I would lose too much blood and no one would donate blood to Yi-hwan. Yi-hwan felt unwell after the operation and suffered heavy bleeding again and was admitted to the hospital. Soo Jung-soo stood anxiously on the phone, clenching his fists and exposing the veins on his face. "Answer the phone. What on earth are you doing?" My mother was also wandering anxiously outside the operating room. No matter how many calls they made, my phone was always turned off. My soul can travel freely. In the operating room, Yi-hwan didn't look sick at all. The corner of her mouth curled up into a smile. Did she come to donate blood? When she comes, donates blood, and then pours out her blood, I want her to be my blood bag. Hearing her words, I felt chills in my soul. How could someone be so bad? So bad that it makes me wonder if her illness was all fake. As the day and night passed, it seemed that all my mother's hair turned white overnight outside. Soo Jung-soo's eyes were dark blue. When Yi-hwan was pushed out, Soo Jung-soo immediately stood up and walked to the bedside. Back in the ward, Yi-hwan looked at him with tears in his eyes. "Jung-soo, will you marry me?" Soo Jung-soo was stunned for a moment and said slowly, "I'm married." "Hwan, I'm married." Yi-hwan cried and shook his head. "But you can divorce. You would marry a woman who almost killed me, would you?" "Jung-soo, think about it. Before my mother died, she held your hand and asked you to take good care of me. You promised my mother to take good care of me. I just want you to marry me now." Suddenly the room fell into silence. After a while, Soo Jung-soo said, "You should take good care of yourself first. Let's talk about it later." 6. After Soo Jung-soo left, he returned to our wedding room. Everything here was carefully arranged by me. He came back here only a few times. He sat on the sofa for a long time and seemed to be thinking about something. He looked up at our wedding photos. We are smiling happily in the photo. Yi-hwan called, "Jung-soo, if you don't marry me. I feel like my life is meaningless." Hearing this, Soo Jung-soo immediately stood up and returned to the hospital. His forehead was covered with sweat, and he ran to the ward panting heavily to hold Yi-hwan's hand. Yi-hwan smiled weakly. "I know, Brother Jung-soo, you can't let me go, right?" I'm looking forward to Soo Jung-soo's answer. Will he agree to her or not? Soo Jung-soo nodded. "Well, I can't bear to leave you." Yi-hwan's eyes suddenly lit up. "I knew you couldn't let me go." Soo Jung-soo smiled bitterly and quickly regained his composure. "When you get better, we'll get married." I really want to ask him, what about me? What should I do? Yi-hwan happily threw herself into his arms, then divorce her quickly. "You can marry me after you get divorced." Soo Jung-soo nodded. I still remember when Soo Jung-soo and I were together. My mother slapped me without saying a word. "Are you worthy of him? Why do you fall in love with him? If you want to marry, you should marry him happily." My mother never allowed me to do better than Yi-hwan or to do better than her in the exam. She would ask me to take a lower exam, or Yi-hwan would be sad. During the college entrance examination, my mother secretly tampered with my choices, causing me to miss out on my favorite university. She also did not allow me to repeat my studies, just because of Yi-hwan's words, "I hope my mother will always be mine alone." Her mother was very happy when she heard this. "Only if you leave the Yi family, Hwan will feel safe." Everyone stood with Yi-hwan, even Soo Jung-soo. He gave all the good things to Yi-hwan. Not surprisingly, the first thing Soo Jung-soo did when he got home was to contact me for divorce. My heart twitched slightly when I heard that he agreed to marry Yi-hwan. He read our marriage certificate over and over again, put it away in a drawer, and immediately called his assistant. "Help me contact a divorce lawyer to draft a divorce agreement." The assistant was very quick and drafted a divorce agreement immediately. Soo Jung-soo and I did not hold a wedding after receiving the certificate. When the wedding was approaching, Yi-hwan accidentally fell and suffered a heart attack. The wedding was canceled and never held again. At night, Soo Jung-soo looked at the computer screen and browsed wedding photos and wedding venues. He was probably thinking about how to hold his wedding with Yi-hwan. He stayed in front of the computer all day and night. Finally wash up and go to work. He sent me a message. "Let's get a divorce." I wasn't surprised at all when I saw him sending the message. If I were alive, I would have agreed without hesitation, but here I am dead. In fact, he does not need to divorce me. He is already widowed. The assistant placed the drafted divorce agreement in front of him, and almost all the interests were in favor of Soo Jung-soo, as expected of Soo Jang-soo's assistant. Seeing the agreement above, Soo Jung-soo couldn't help but frown. Change this and give her half of the group's shares. The assistant looked at him in disbelief. "Mr. Soo, are you sure?" Soo Jung-soo didn't answer and continued to browse the agreement on the white paper. He couldn't help but frown at one point. Change this too. Transfer the property we newly married to her. They were about to get divorced, so Soo Jung-soo was still pretending to be affectionate. Finally, the agreement was drafted again, and the assistant emailed it to me. 7. I haven't replied to him for a week. The assistant was extremely anxious. Mr. Su, Madam hasn't replied to my email yet. Su Jiangshu himself was not in a hurry. It's okay. Wait a minute. When Yi Huan urged him, Jiangshu, have you divorced her? When can you marry me? Su Jiangshu said there was no rush. But Yi Huan sent me a message urging me. Shen Yanchu, can you please stop hanging on to brother Jiangshu? Will you divorce me quickly? But Su Jiangshu stayed on my chat page and wrote and deleted the words he typed, deleted and wrote again. Let's not get divorced. But I will organize a wedding for Huan Huan. I have already been sorry to her once for not taking good care of her for her mother, so I don't want to make her sad again. I just gave her a wedding. When I saw his words, I couldn't help but laugh. Does he know this is bigamy? Oh no. I am dead. He is now widowed and does not qualify as bigamy. The wedding venue was grandly decorated. Yi Huan stood in the center in a beautiful white wedding dress, and Su Jiangshu wore a suit with the groom's bouquet on his chest and held a bouquet of flowers in his hand. He took a deep breath and walked towards Yi Huan. I have also fantasized about such a grand wedding. But I was already dead before I could wait. Seeing her mother crying so hard, and Su Jiangshu pacing nervously. During the wedding break, he didn't forget to send me a message. Honey, wait for me. I will go home to find you after Yi Huan's wedding. You don't need to sign the divorce agreement. Don't. The wedding is getting ready to begin. When the host asked the groom to promise, Su Jiangshu suddenly stopped moving. He seemed to be wondering why I didn't stop him from holding the wedding, why I wasn't jealous, and why I wasn't angry. He apologized and said, I'm going out for a while. When he walked outside, he called me frantically and sent a message. Shen Yanchu, I'm going to have a wedding with Yi Huan. Why aren't you angry? I'm about to take an oath. Why don't you come? If you don't come, I will hold a wedding with Yi Huan. Why did the dead appear? Even if I don't die, I will take the initiative to divorce and give up this identity to Yi Huan. When he returned to the wedding scene, Yi Huan asked him with red eyes, Brother Jiangshu, are you going to regret it? Su Jiangshu opened and closed his mouth. Just as he was about to speak again, the assistant hurried in and looked at Su Jiangshu hesitantly. Mr. Su, something happened. Su Jiangshu's expression suddenly brightened. Is she angry? Does she not want me to have a wedding? The assistant shook his head. Yes, Miss Shun is dead. After the words fell, everyone's expressions changed. The goblet held in my mother's hand plopped onto the soft lawn. Su Jiangshu smiled in disbelief. Assistant Wu, don't be joking. As long as she says a word, I won't hold this wedding. The lamenting expression on the assistant's face didn't look like an act. Su Jiangshu's expression became more and more solemn. What you said, is it true? Su Jiangshu's expression was stern, and his eyebrows were gloomy. Where is she? Take me over now. I want to see her. Mom suddenly grabbed the assistant's hand. I want to go too. The mother and daughter of the Yi family were left there, Ye's father flushed, and Yi Huan shouted angrily. Su Jiangshu, are you worthy of my mother? You are not allowed to leave. Over the years, I have long been accustomed to Yi Huan kidnapping Su Jiangshu with his dead mother. Whenever her mother was mentioned, Su Jiangshu couldn't help but be soft-hearted towards her. This is the first time that Su Jiangshu chose me instead of Yi Huan among the two choices. It's like Su Jiangshu always knew that the person who bullied me on campus was Yi Huan. He saved me at first, just because he didn't want Yi Huan's behavior to cause a big mistake. He only saved me to help Yi Huan deal with the aftermath, nothing more. But I regard him as the only light in a dark life. He was like my lifeline, and I desperately tried to catch him. Su Jiangshu played the role of redeeming me and slowly fell in love with me. He blames himself and feels guilty for falling in love with me. 8. After the burial, my grave was taken care of by specialized personnel, and Duan Su often comes to see me. At this time, he was standing in front of the tomb. Today, he is a tall and straight figure and has become a well-established and well-spoken investment upstart in the city. He wiped the dust on the tombstone with a towel and couldn't help but smile, a bitter and ugly smile. I know you are married. I investigated everything that happened to you. It's my fault that I didn't have time to come back to you. In the alley, we hung ourselves on hooks and promised each other to come back to each other. He didn't break his promise when he was kidding. When I went to his house, I was having a bad time. I was so hungry that I couldn't tell whether it was a stomachache or hunger. I told my mother that I was hungry, and she asked me to stay with someone else and stop being so greedy. At night, I can only curl up and squeeze my stomach to stop being hungry. After Yi Huan suffered a heart attack, I donated blood too often and couldn't keep up with my nutrition. My stomachache was so painful that I just thought it was malnutrition. I didn't expect that I had stomach cancer. Duan Su knew that I died of stomach cancer, so he bought me a lot of things that I loved to eat when I was a child. Su Jiangshu hurried over and posted my black and white photo on the grave. When he saw the black and white photo, his legs became weak and he knelt on the ground. He covered his mouth and bit his lip, not daring to cry out. Mom ran to catch up and saw Duan Su. Duan Su looked at them with sharp eyes. Are you Su Jiangshu? Su Jiangshu nodded. I am her husband. Duan Su punched Su Jiangshu in the face. You are her husband. Then, do you know she is dead? Do you know how she died? Did you know she has stomach cancer? Su Jiangshu didn't fight back, but just froze on the spot, looking up at him dully. You said, she has stomach cancer? Before I died, I wrote countless diaries, and every page of the diary recorded my grief. Every day I was tortured by Yi Huan's heart disease, and I regretted pushing her. I clearly remember that I just touched her feet and definitely did not push her down, but I was the one who pushed her when she bit her to death. I just want my dad's photo back. It is a relief to me that death is no longer painful. Duan Su threw my medical records in his face. There was no heart in her body. Her heart was transplanted into someone else, and the heart installed in Yi Huan's body belongs to her. Duan Su roared. My mother shook her head and said it was impossible. Su Jiangshu ran to the hospital in a panic to get my complete medical record. His hands were shaking, and the paper in his hand seemed to be about to fall off in the next second. He kept trembling. She has stomach cancer. The doctor briefly explained my condition during my lifetime. The patient donated blood and did not eat on time, which accelerated her condition. Are you family members? I didn't see anyone accompanying her when she was sick. The patient is quite pitiful. My mother and husband don't have time to spend time with me, and I don't dare to disturb them from staying with Yi Huan. Su Jiangshu stared blankly at the date of my death, the last phone call I made to him before my death, and the date of Yi Huan's surgery, all on the same day. He covered his face and cried, I really deserve to die. In the crowded corridor, he burst into tears. 9. Su Jiangshu called up the surveillance. He looked in a daze when he saw me coming to the hospital alone every time on the surveillance camera. My mother was also standing next to the monitoring room, watching me on the monitor. It hurt so much that I held my stomach and held back tears while waiting for an ambulance on the street. I was alone in the hospital holding a sling bottle, and the size S hospital gown looked particularly roomy on me. At that time, I was only 80 pounds. As time went by, I lost weight every day. Su Jiangshu looked through the text message and my compliment invitation again, and he couldn't help but cry again, his eyes red. He punched the wall with his fist remorsefully. Why didn't I pay attention to your emotions, and what's wrong with you? While packing up my belongings, he saw my diary. He sat on the ground alone and looked through it all night. There was also a suicide note inside. Su Jiangshu, I want to die countless times. I am serious, but every time I stand in a tall building, I am afraid again. Yi Huan's heart disease was not caused by me. Why do you all blame me? Today I was diagnosed with gastric cancer. My heart and Yi Huan's are a perfect match. I signed a heart donation agreement. This time I don't owe you anything. Knowing that I was going to die, I didn't feel sad at all. I was finally free. In the diary, there is also my desire for maternal love. When my mother read the diary, she smiled. You are so stupid. I was so bad to you. Mom, every time I was bullied, you told me to endure it. You said I could just endure it, but I endured it, and I endured it until I died. If you are willing to look at the surveillance, you will see that it was not me who pushed Yi Huan. I just touched her foot. You didn't attend every parent-teacher meeting. Everyone said that I was an unwanted child. They said nonsense because my father wanted me. Before he died, my father said that he would always love me, but he was no longer with me. Smiling and laughing, she cried. She covered her mouth and cried until she couldn't breathe. My mother mustered up the courage to retrieve the surveillance footage from that year. Some of the surveillance footage contained videos of me being bullied. She had never dared to face the fact that I was being bullied. She is cowardly. She dared not face it. I'm sorry, I never let you tell me about you being bullied, because we have to rely on the Yi family for our life. Even if I knew, I can't live without the Yi family. I know you can't push her, but I don't dare to adjust the surveillance to tell you the truth. After his death, my mother and Uncle Yi divorced. Yi Huan cried and asked her, You liar, you said you only have my daughter. The mother who left the Yi family was unkempt and holding my photo. I only have one child, Yun Chu. She is my only child. I know you will never forgive Mom again. Su Jiangshu knew that Yi Huan had poured out all my blood on the pretext of donating blood. He pinched Yi Huan's neck with red eyes. You have kidnapped me for so many years with your mother's dead morality, but your mother was the one who caused the fire back then. You mother and daughter are so vicious. Uncle Yi begged Su Jiangshu to let Yi Huan go. Su Jiangshu looked at him with a sneer. Uncle Yi, don't think I don't know. It was also your fault that the fire broke out that year. You wanted to take away the Su family's property, but unexpectedly, you left someone alive. Father Yi was sent to prison. Su Jiangshu knelt in front of my grave. Honey, if we don't get a divorce, can you come home with me? Later, Su Jiangshu never missed my birthday, every year. At the grave, he told me, Happy birthday. But this sentence came too late. They all want me to die. It's just that I died. Why were they crying? Su Jiangshu, mother, never seen again. I want to find my father, who loved me,